Hello everybody and welcome to Civilization 7. Buckle up because today we're diving into the crossroads of the world expansion with none other than the absolute legend herself, Ada Lovelace. And guess what? We're doing it on Deity difficulty, the ultimate test of strategy, patience, and maybe even sanity. But don't panic because Ada Lovelace isn't just OP, she's a science-driven tech tsunami here to drown the competition. We're going to start in Antiquity as the Mayans, and here's why. Their unique science quarter cranks out a +4 science right out of the gate. Pair that with Ada's +2 science in every city every time we slam down a Civic Mastery. Yeah, we're basically inventing the internet while the AI is still rubbing sticks together. Towns? Nah, we're going mega city mode, stacking cities like skyscrapers and turning them into glowing metropolises of progress. I'll show you exactly why that's game breaking. But wait, it gets even better. We got 2 game-breaking Momentos in our back pocket. First, we have Bifocals. Unlocked by leveling Ben Franklin to level 2, every tech or Civic Mastery research, that's 50 influence. Why does that matter? Because city-states bend to our will, become Sue's early, and suddenly we got free techs, civics, and other goodies, all while Ada's science engine revs into overdrive. Then we have Kite and Key, unlocked again with Ben Franklin at level 5 this time, slapping a 10% science boost on tech mastery research. Combine that with Ada's bonuses and the Maya science quarters, we're not just climbing the tech tree, we're skydiving up it. Oh, and let's talk settings. First, we're going to go to Deity difficulty. We're going to keep the game speed at standard. We're going to keep the map type at Continents Plus. We're going to increase the map size to standard. And then under advanced options, we're going to change it for long, or change the age length to long. Why? Because we're not just here for a sprint. We're here to build a time-traveling empire. Long ages mean more time to exploit the cities we build in Antiquity and carry them straight into the exploration age. So to recap, we're Ada, playing in Antiquity as the Maya, stacking science like there's no tomorrow, printing influence like it's monopoly money, and laughing in Deity's face. If you're ready to see Ada Lovelace dominate the tech tree, outsmart the AI, and turn science into a weapon of mass construction, smash that like button, subscribe, and let's launch this empire into hyperdrive. All right, here we go. Okay, so we have our starting location. It's a pretty good starting location. We got a treasure chest right here. Or a goodie hut, rather. We got some gypsum. We got some camel. We have some iron. Everything looks pretty solid. We have some rough terrain surrounding us as well. We're just really looking around, seeing if we have a pretty good starting position. And I'm going to keep this video very transparent, so I'm going to save this. I ran through 6 starting positions, and this is the best one we found. We also found a rough tropical one, which I would love to replay. And I'm also going to check the settler lens. If you go over here to the telescope, or whatever you want to call that. The last game I played, I did win all the way through on Deity. But I noticed probably around turn 75 that my city was built on a not freshwater tile. So that hurt my happiness. But to be honest, I've never really had too much trouble of keeping happiness in my capital. And I was thinking about moving to the right where it said build a city, but I like my location here. You don't really want to move around too much when you're with your founder to basically start the game. You don't want to lose out on so many turns. And I also didn't want to expand onto the tile because the last time I did that, the goodie hut disappeared when I expanded onto it. So I wasn't sure if I got those rewards or not. But you know, we're just gonna go right for the goodie hut here. Easy W move right there. Of course, we're gonna do the Jaguar Warrior first. That is the unique unit of the Mayans. And now we're thinking about where to expand. So where do we want to expand? We have some pretty solid tiles. We do have a science tile, but we kind of want the production. So These tiles are going to look very small at the beginning of the game, but trust me, they will grow. These 1-1-1 tiles will become, you know, significantly bigger during the time. Now, do we want to lose out on 1 turn of happiness? Well, right now we're only getting 6 happiness, and it's basically the start of the game. We could start with a huge boost of the 1 population, so we're going to do that. And then we expand again. We're going to expand towards this gypsum, which is really good. It's a production bonus tile. And here's another thought. So I'm not exactly sure how this works. Activate determined ability, +2 combat strength on warriors. Right now we don't have any warriors. Does this +2 combat strength go forward for the whole game? Or does it only apply to the warriors we have? That, I'll be honest with you, I have no idea. But we're going to go with it anyways. The other option wasn't too grand. So we already have a scout appearing on our screen, but he's friendly. So you could tell that he's friendly because he doesn't have the red border around his name. Oh, that's solid. Solid first start. And we're also going to click this. Exposes the goody huts. I used to do the scout lookout, but the trouble with that is basically you forget to move the scout every single time. Not every single time, but you will forget to move the scout if you put him on lookout. I assure you that. The other big thing is making sure you put your whatever mementos down that you chose. If you chose one of the mementos that give you attribute points, trust me, we've all done it. By turn 10, you'll be like, oh, I lost out on 10 science because I chose the science attribute. You know, the worst. So never forget to do that, but you will. So, you know, don't. But then we came across another independent nation that is hostile towards us. They are a military hostile, so that is actually good. We're going to use this little independent nation, colon, or I can't see the, we'll just call it cone right now because we can only see the K-O-H-O-N. Now we're debating on whether to choose production. Production is king in this game, so we're going to do that. Then we're going to do that as well. We do have a goody hut in sight. Very hard to see though. Go that way. We're just really trying to expand around the area we are in. You kind of want to go with a circular motion around your capital when using your scouts. Because if you just send one scout south, it doesn't really show you what's around you so much. South or north, east, west, whatever direction. We're going to expand onto the gypsum. It'll give us more production. And then we're debating, so between the warrior and the jaguar scout, Mayan scout offers the exact same attributes as the warrior with just more movement. So it's almost pointless building a warrior, which I just did. But after that, I think that's my first and only warrior. And we're always going to do animal husbandry as our first tech. It just unlocks more than pottery alone. We'll do pottery for the second tech. We're going to do all of our production buildings to start before we even put down a settler. And then we're also going to expand onto one of our suburban districts, our rural districts. This will pop out the population that is working that district and allow us to expand even further, which we're about to do right now. So when you expand, production is king again. So we're looking at the 2 production tiles here. We also have the iron up there, but we're not into any combat yet. So I'd rather go with the 2 production than the 1 production. We're going to do pottery next. This is just the standard operation of how I choose my techs. Some people are going animal husbandry and masonry, but I pretty much like to finish that line. It really, for some reason, just it seems to me that it helps out with researching text faster. All right, this is perfect. So our second independent nation is our science independent nation. We are gonna befriend them as soon as we hit 170 influence, which again, Ada is with the, is it binoculars or Kite and Key that gave us the 50 influence? But we're gonna do that. So basically every time we, so 45 culture, 45 culture is really 4 turns of culture for us. But so I was looking to change what research we were doing in culture, so we could get the full plus 45, because right there that was only like a plus 20 and the other 25 got wasted. We're gonna do the plus 20 science. Gonna go ahead and end the turn. We always want to make sure we're moving all of our units. The one thing I'm not a big fan of in this game is you almost have to search for your units. Past Civ games would just scroll to your next unit. This one you just always have to click the button. I'm not sure if there's a setting for that or a mod for that, but that would sure be nice. I'm playing vanilla right now, so it works out. We have 2 goodie huts up here, which is very, very, very nice start. We're gonna check on what we're producing. It's only 1 turn till it's finished, but we're just gonna crank it out right there. Plus 15 production to give us plus 2 production for the life of antiquity. Oh, the game in general, because it's ageless. Move him onto the goodie hut, of course. We're gonna get the production going. You know what? We'll do the culture. Culture. See, we had mysticism at 10, so that 30, since we're researching at 12 culture per turn, gave 3 turns off, which is very nice. Good start. Great start. Gonna move this Jaguar Slayer out, explore a little bit more. This one already hit the coast, so he's going up now. I'm pretty OCD about my tiles, so this one tile is extremely bugging me right here that it didn't get exposed. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and lay down the granary. The granary is giving us 1 food, not just 1 food, but 1 culture and science as well. So that's a huge granary. Unlock pottery, so we got another production building. So we have the brickyard, which is ageless. Ageless just means it's gonna last the whole game, not just an antiquity. Now, all buildings do last the whole game, but they lose their production bonuses. So it's really a drain on your economy to keep them constructed. And we'll show you in Exploration Age how we build over those. I'm gonna hit that. We got 2 more goodie huts exposed. This is a great start. Maybe this Jaguar Warrior. And then you see I kind of thought about doing the, it's not the lookout, but it's like the scout ahead reveals all goodie huts button. But you really want to do that when you're at basically the edge of your site, or kind of when you're surrounded by tiles. You're gonna see right here, I'm surrounded by tiles. Gonna get a little bit more deeper before I do that. Gonna go for this goodie hut. So we have an option between culture or science and happiness. We're gonna crank out mysticism because I want to get a really good pantheon. We have to be one of the first research pantheon. We are not. Well, we are one of the first. We're the second. So under the pantheon, stone circles is a great option. +1 productions on clay pits, mines, and quarries and settlements with an altar. So production again is king. For this run though, we're focused on making Ada a science god. So this is basically the only science option we have here. So it's +1 science and quarters. What quarters is basically having 2 buildings on the same tile. Now, a lot of people think that, like, I want to have 2 science buildings on the tile. But really, the thing is, all you want is the highest producing buildings on one tile. So if you have a building like in the future, say a barracks with 10 production, and then you have a laboratory or something with 10 science, and everything else is like 5 or 6, plus 5 or 6 and whatever they want. You want to go with the 10 and 10 just to make that tile alone plus 20. So you don't want a plus 10 science building with a plus 5 science building. That's only plus 15. Because later on in the exploration age, this is what, thinking ahead, you want to have those 10 and 10 buildings together so you could hit that 40 mark, which I'll explain later. I know I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but I'll explain later in the exploration age. So right now, we haven't discovered anybody, so I'm getting a little hesitant. We do have another science independent nation in Babylon, which is very nice. The first city-state that I want to aim for, ooh, natural wonder. Let's go. Uriquago. I can't pronounce that. We all know this. I butchered it. I do apologize. Whatever language that is. And Peaches, famous poet, famous. I have no idea who, but great name. Great name. All right, so we have plus 45 science, plus 50 happiness, or just 50 happiness. This is at the cost of 50 damage, though. I'll be honest with you. I have played this game without fear. The deity difficulty in Civ 7 is, in my opinion, far easier than any other Civ game I played. And I've been playing since Civilization 2. I watched my older brother play Civilization 1. For hours at a time, and I honestly couldn't understand why I was watching him. I was like 6 years old, but it was just so entertaining. I've been in love with this game since it first came out. I do not remember what year Civilization 1 came out, but loved it ever since. Loved watching my older brother play video games. Great times. All right, so we have another expansion. We have a 2 production. We have a 3 production, which is great. And that plus 2 production, we couldn't click on it first, but now we can. So again, these tiles are going to grow. This plus 3 production to the right of the tile I'm looking at currently was only plus 2 before, but now it's plus 3 because of the bonuses that we've added. So now, where do we want to go? I think I want to go with production. Also, you notice we're going to go with the science here for sure. Also, you notice that I'm not going straight for the resources, simply because we do not need the resources. For instance, if we rush to the camel gives you plus 3 resource slots rather, and we don't have 1 resource, so there is absolutely no need to rush towards the camel or rush towards the iron, because the iron gives us more combat bonuses and we're not in combat. Also, you got to watch out for tiles that hinder your movement, such as rivers. It's always great to land on rivers on your second move. If you have 2 movement tiles, like this is 1 movement, the next one will be 2 movements. It's always good to land on them on the second movement because it's basically a free river tile. In my mind, we have another gold independent nation, which is not bad. They basically give you gold. So here we have Confucius, which is not bad. He's not a huge warmonger, and since we're aiming for a science win in Antiquity, we are just gonna be as friendly as possible to anybody, because I want to focus on building up my cities, making them as proficient in science as possible, proficient in production first and foremost, because I probably say this 50 times throughout this video, production is king. Now you don't have to rush to masonry though. Don't do that, because there's a production building in pottery that's going to help you out for the life of the game. So this hurts. This is the terrain in Civilization 7 is quite wild. I like it in some situations, but in another situation it gets highly annoying. That's also why I wanted to do this science run. Last run I did, which is not recorded, probably beat Deity now about 8 times out of the 10 games I've played. So it's sometimes when you're trying to attack a city, we're gonna go with 3 production here. But we're gonna go with the 3 production next to the camels so we can expand to it. We're gonna lay our altar down, +1, +1, +2. That's great for, what is it, turn 15 maybe, turn 23. And notice we're not rushing to get our settlers out. Deity just, it feels too easy. Back to what I was saying about the terrain and combat. Some of these cities are almost impossible to sack, because in 7 we don't have the, you know, stacks of units, the stacks of death, you know, marching towards the capital. It's just one unit and they pretty much get demolished. Siege weapons are huge in this game, as they've been in every Civ, but especially this one in my opinion. If you have siege weapons, easy W's. So we unlocked masonry, we got our monument, we have unlocked the pyramids, and then we have +1 to production. Friedrich is a problem. Perhaps it's because of the past games I played, but I despise him. Can't stand him. But we're gonna be friendly. Definitely want to be friendly to this one, because this guy will go to war with you. I settled a city, probably my 5th game in, and I couldn't even see his capital. But apparently it was hidden in the shadow of war, maybe, I don't know, 10 tiles away. And he told me I was too close to settling his city. So we're gonna go with writing here. We're gonna get our science buildings going. And then we're gonna befriend, oh. So we have Babylon, and then we have one to the north too. We have Messe Verde. But Babylon is closer to Confucius, so we want to get Babylon on our side first. And I'll show you a mistake I make later. I'm doing this video completely, basically unedited, just to show you every single step I take. One of my pet peeves is the word pet peeve itself. I've never heard anybody say it in just walking around in public. But the thing that peeves me is when some content creators, and I've been watching a lot of Civ YouTubes for decades now. I don't want to age myself too much, but they're like, oh, and now we have the pyramids. Look at that, and they just cut to the pyramids being built. Like, how did you do that? Again, Napoleon has been my boy. No matter what version of Napoleon he is, he's always been an ally in almost every game I've played. It's wild. He's just always friendly to me. No matter what leader I choose, it's great. I think he's a great guy. He seems like a great guy to me. I also hit the scout button just because I'm pretty sure I'm near the coast, so I don't want to waste, you know, so many turns just figuring out that I'm stuck in one position because there's might be mountains there. Also, with the scout button, you want to make sure that you're not surrounded by mountains, because if you try to use that scout button and you're surrounded by mountains, nothing will be revealed. Or if there's a mountain to your left, nothing will be revealed to your left. So this is pretty interesting. We're going to do open borders. We don't want to reject it and make them all hostile, so we're just going to do it. And we also get +2 gold that way as well, so we also don't have much territory to move through. Also going to change the mute on focus. Again, probably could have edited that out, but it's basically a 2-second edit. And Yeah, we probably could edit this out. Yeah. Yeah. That's good. All right, production time. We're gonna do a monument, or we're gonna do a settler. So we're gonna do a settler here. I'm telling you right now, most likely mistake, because we don't have anybody to support the settler moving forward. So again, the Jaguar Slayer has the same traits as the warrior, but better. We're just gonna keep the settler. We're gonna throw down a monument. We got a 3+3+1 tile, which is very nice. We also want to get some walls up soon. Walls in this game are crucial. Basically, as many walls as you have is how many basically districts they have to conquer in order to get your city. So it's literally walls of defense, which is very nice. Also, this hides tile is very good. It's +3 production for that resource. So we're gonna go with the culture. I usually go with science or culture over happiness, but celebrations are good. The more happiness you have, the more happiness you have, the faster you get into celebrations. Celebrations just will increase my science by 20% or allow me to build units faster. Win-win, but faster we get through the tech and civic trees, the better, the way better. So we found Confucius, we found Napoleon, and it looks like either of them have one city. Nice. Now we have some options on where to expand. Now you don't want to expand too close to your cities. If you go diagonally out from one of your city tiles up to 3, and then basically you get 3 rings around your city. That's why I like to also, in like some foreshadowing, I like to build my wonders in the 2nd ring. That way the 1st ring and the 3rd ring can reap the rewards of the wonder. Wonders are very nice, but they come with some drawbacks of usually longer production times, and also some leaders do not like having you have wonders or having more wonders than them. So it's kind of a balancing act on how many wonders you want to have. So I think we're going to go down here. We're going to settle pretty close to Confucius, because we also might keep Babylon in our nation. We might convert it to an actual town for our civilization. Up here is nice. I don't like the placement that the game recommends us, because basically we lose 3 tiles in our inner ring. We're going to go down here. I've been really risky with settlers throughout every single one of my playthroughs. Nothing bad has ever happened. Also, some foreshadowing. And then we also have a culture independent nation. So the reason, let's backtrack a little bit. The reason why the science independent nation is so good and so clutch to have as your first independent nation is because they will give you a free science tech every time you become the Sioux of an independent nation, which is so epic. And then on top of that, let's go back to, hold that thought really quickly. So we also have the Mayan civic tree. So these are going to take 15 turns. They're also going to give us +4 science. We have Code of Laws next in the next tree, but we're going to go with this mastery. Again, civic masteries are crucial to what Ada does. But back to the reason you choose a science independent nation first. So if you choose that first and you become a Sioux of a science independent nation, a reward for becoming the Sioux is grant a free technology. And it says, like this one, for every city-state you become the SUS of. So as soon as you become the SUS of a science independent nation, they'll give you a free technology. They'll give you a free technology every city-state you become SUS of after that. It explodes in volume if you could find enough city-states. The reason that you want to find a culture independent nation next is because they will give you a culture or civic tech every time you become the SUS of a city-state, which is huge. So every time you become the SUS, if you do those two first, you get a free civic and a free science. But you also want a trick to that is also you want to be careful because it might give you like a one-turn mastery. So if you could do that before you become the SUS, research those first. All right, so we have a huge problem here. We have a settler that is in serious trouble. Like I said, we haven't had much problems with sending out settlers kind of nonchalantly, but it kind of backfired here. It reminds me of one of my college professors. I graduated with a finance degree, and one of my first ever, I think it was Finance 101. I was like, well, can't you just do this? It's so much easier. And he explained to me, I mean, you can, but it's not always going to work. I was like, it seems to always work. And then the whole class got it wrong. And then everybody hated me in that class. But I was able to talk my way out of it and allow him to give everybody +3 back on that question, which worked out very nice. So everybody liked me a little bit more after that, but people that got straight A's were not very happy. I aimed for B's, you know. So we have another settler here, but we're definitely not going to send him out just like that. And then we have so much production that all these are, you know, counting for one. We're just going to delete the monument and rebuild it instead of dragging every one of those up. You can move the position of your production. All right, we reached the top of the map. And then that was super satisfying. I did not think that was going to expose all the tiles, which it did. Again, OCD with blank tiles. So we're absolutely getting dominated here. But we have our Huluche? Ulche? Not exactly sure how to pronounce that. Now these are range units as well, which are very nice. So if you bump that tab out, this is like super beginner level tutorial. So they become friendly with us. So we get +25 science to start. So we're gonna switch.
The spoken word conquers all thought.
Switch our text. So we do get that +25. You always want to be careful of that. A lot of times down here, in basically the main, like next turn area, this book will pop up a lot after you research a technology. And if you click the 25 science, +25 science, I'm not sure if it actually does go towards your science or it doesn't. But if it seems to me that if you don't have a science or a technology selected, it just, that +25 just goes into the ether. So you always want to make sure that you do have a science selected. Now we are going for a science and culture win here. So that +6 culture is really going to help us out. We're at +17 science and +20 culture right now. We're doing pretty well. We're just going to skip with the settler. We're going to go range first. We already used them. We're going to use a fortify for our general here. And we're also going to bring our scouts up. So good thing about the Mayan scouts is they can also attack. And we have, this is not looking good. But I assure you everything works out well. The AI in this game will not be able to handle human intelligence. They are very good. They do get a lot of production bonus, science bonuses, everything. Independent nations AI are just kind of, and not that, you know, there's something to them, but honestly, to me, Deity just seems so easy. And one thing they do very well is the AI will run away every time they get injured and heal. So you always want to make sure you're hunting down those units that are backing away to heal. Also, you want to make sure your units are within the parameters of your general. The first one I always take is that selection, which will allow your units to basically move after unloading from your general. There's often been times, especially with ships later on, that you'll unload. You'll like basically start a war. You'll unload this massive amount of ships, and then you can't move them. Which is really a bummer. Like, before you start a war, if you don't have that unlocked, you move your ships out and then start a war the next turn. That's a pro tip for sure. Probably not a pro tip, but I don't know, maybe it's not so obvious of a tip. Also, the game sometimes, speaking of like on that note, the game sometimes will let you hit click next turn, and then the game will find like one unit that you didn't move. And in the modern age, in the end game, you'll have a ton of units. So with that unit, you know, it has 2 moves. You'll think it's the next turn, like, all right, let's go. Let's start the war. And then you only move that unit. You start the war, and then it's just over. And then you just get counterattacked and dominated because all your units have already been moved. So just, you know, I've only done that like, I don't know, 24 times. But this again is not looking too good. But again, we are human, okay? So you always want to remember that, okay? Also, if you use the commander to have them attack, they'll get a plus 5% to whatever they're doing. And then you could also move units like this if you didn't know. So now I can attack this guy. The Jaguar still has 1 move, so I can attack him again. Then we're going to have basically a flow of units coming out to defend this. You see a next Jaguar is done in 1 move. So this settler we are trying to desperately keep alive, and we are extremely risky with our settlers in Civ 7. I would not recommend doing this with any other Civ game with settlers. By far, don't go back and play Civ 6 and be like, oh yeah, High-Tech was doing this with settlers in Civ 7. Let me just do this. Not gonna work. We're gonna keep our policies. We're actually gonna change our policies up. So +3 for independent nations. This is an independent nation city-state. We have a 60 influence to get +6 more culture. We should be at 26 now. I'm gonna take a look. We're pretty close. Frederick has us all beat by a lot, but just competing with other nations in deity mode is great. So again, do we go for another mastery? Or do we go for our Mayan civics? Total laws is only 13, which is not too bad. But we're just going to go for another civic. Because again, we do have our bonuses to the civics, civic masteries, tech mastery. We found another science independent nation. We're going to make that a city. Perfect. Now we have to defend the city because it's undefended. We do have a health bar on our city even without walls, so we should be okay. We have a library which is looking juicy. We still have a monument as well, but right now we cannot do that. We're gonna get it started, and then I'm not sure if I had another Not sure if I had another building laid down there. That's why we didn't do that. We're going to head straight towards the cotton. Cotton is another great production. Gonna get rid of this guy. Almost. Very nice. Perfect. And then we're gonna leave the general right there because we're surrounded by units, so they could all get a bonus from that. And we're really going for we could do the codex, but we're really going for science, culture, influence. We're going right along in accordance with our Momentos. So we have the slinger attacking our city here.
80 miles in length, which was to separate the barbarians from the Romans.
So we got the mastery in masonry, +1 production bonus. Very nice. And then the yield tab is very, very helpful. And then from that, we also got an attribute point. Not much of a choice there. Scientific, well, we did have a choice there, but the top one you basically have to choose. Gonna go with the tech mastery this time. Again, right in line with what Ada does best. Again, it doesn't hurt to go onto the river tile on the second move, because it's the end of your turn anyway, basically. I mean, not basically, it X. All right, so also what I just did there is you always want to check if there's another unit along with your commander, because you might mistakenly move a unit back when you move the other unit forward. Also, we're doing most of the attacking. The Bastion route towards your level 5 commander is not bad. It's great for defense. It's great for just basically staying in fights so long that the AI just has no option but to lose, because eventually you're going to outsmart the AI. Just kind of thinking where I want to go here. We're going to go with the slinger, because one thing about combat strength is it is based on your health. Like, you might have, even if I had a, let's just say like an artillery cannon in the Antiquity Age, but it was on 1% health, it wouldn't do that much damage as if it had 100 health. So basically, by putting damage on the slinger there, it really reduces their attack damage, or their attack output, I should say, that they could put out. All right, so we're above even now. So at the beginning of this fight, it was basically a 1% chance we'd win. But now, so here we go. So receive a free technology when you become Sues of a city-state. So we unlock sailing, which is huge.
The furrow followed free.
Could have took us 12 turns. We got it done in 0 if we chose it at the start. We get a diplomatic attribute point. So we do have a choice here. We have happiness or influence. 50% celebration length is nice. Go from 10 turns of celebration to 15. +1 happiness per resource is also really nice. So we're gonna go with happiness. Also, be careful. When you click on one of those, you cannot unclick. You can't, like, there's no confirmed choice there. All right, so this, all right. So we're gonna move him up because the range unit will go first, which can still hit. Again, if you put damage on them, it will reduce their attack strength. There's oftentimes that, you know, you make mistakes throughout the game. Like, for instance, probably should have used the commander to attack that one person for the +5. But it ends up working out well. Also, another pro tip is you want to move the units that are closest and attack viable before you move anybody else. You don't want to move somebody up to the front line and end turn instead of moving somebody that's on the front line and attacking. So food isn't really that great. We don't want to waste 60 influence. We haven't wanted to waste 60 influence, but both choices with the +6 culture have been great choices for us. So we went along with that. Again, which is a super beginner tip, but culture goes towards your civic side of the tech tree. All right, Chichen Itza is safe. Just kind of debating on what we want to do here. Gonna get rid of the commander first. Just didn't end up happening on that go. The commander will, we don't know what the attributes for that commander is, so it might be given +2 to this warrior right here. So always want to keep that in mind when you're attacking. Getting rid of commanders is a great idea, but you do also want to focus on what is actually hurting your unit. But if the opportunity does arise, you know, take it. All right, we're doing a lot of exploring. We're actually doing a great job exploring with all these Jaguar scouts. We're revealing a ton of the map. So we have this science independent nation, but we also have this culture independent nation, which we definitely want to do because again, we want to get the free science or free tech, free tech advancement and free culture advancement, free technology and free culture technology, technology. That, hey, it works, doesn't it? So we're off to a pretty good start. Even though we did lose a settler, okay, I know what you're thinking. Hey, guy lost a settler, doesn't know how to play the game. Why don't you watch the whole series, huh? Hey, okay, why don't you watch it all? Why don't you see how it plays out? All right, so now I think we're good. We're safe. We're gonna be able to conquer this city-state quite well and get some more levels for our commander. So we're gonna go back to building. We already got one down. You can only do 3 cities, or 1 city and 2 towns at the beginning of the game. That is your settlement cap, which you can see at the top of the screen to the far right of the first panel in the left, top left. That's a lot of directions. I'm sure you got lost. But again, gold is what we're looking for. If they offer us science, if they offer us culture, if they offer us production, those are all good. But not food or gold. We want to stay away from wasting influence on food and gold. So we have some options here. So again, we want to do a science and culture win. So we were thinking about whether to go down the Mayan civic tree or stick with the base civic tree. Because the Mayan civic tree, or with any civilization civic trees, it'll allow you once you get to the end, usually, it'll allow you to construct your civilization's wonder quite faster because it's so much closer on the civic or tech tree than it is on the main tree. So basically, it allows you to get there faster. So we made light work of this city-state Khotan. Expand that. We get 100 production. Always remember that. So if you have a, say you're producing 10 per turn, you have a 10-turn wonder. That's great. Plus 50 culture is amazing. Again, the gold will come. Money comes and goes. Everybody remember that. Okay, not the end of the world. Text lasts forever. Nobody forgot about the wheel. Okay, still exists. Very useful. Very useful, that wheel. Can you imagine being the inventor of the wheel? I was probably crushing it. Art girl. I don't know who invented it. Nobody does. It was probably a woman, to be honest. Dumb men just being like, hey, I'll lift it. Which they probably could. Pretty strong back then. But I mean, a wheel? Hey. Innovative. See, okay, so here's a great example of why I did not bother attacking. Individual units do not gain
the spoken word
experience. That took me a long time to think of that word.
Commands.
Individual units will not gain experience when in combat unless they're next to a commander who gets experience. Or the unit still won't, but the commander will. But if it's not close to a commander, no experience gained. We're going to go with irrigation. This ups our settlement limit to 4. Very nice. And we're also going to go for the cotton here. Plus 2 food, plus 2 production. It'll help our city grow and produce. Now, our city basically isn't producing. Again, we're going to go with culture. Saves off a turn. So when this pops up, you do have the option to leave that resource into your town, but it's far better to move it into your city. So we just found out where Frederick is, and we just found out that he's playing as Rome, which is actually not militaristic. You'd think it was militaristic, but it's actually culture that they thrive in. But they do have a very good unit in the Legion, which you do want to watch out for, because I've won a lot of games on Deity as Rome, and the Legion is basically unstoppable. As you saw earlier, we had a +1, our 1 turn production on our Pulches. And if you have a 1 turn production on legions, you just have a line of legions basically marching whatever way towards the opposing city, and it's just over. Now you still, even with Legion, you still want some ballistas or some siege weapons to go along with it. It's very good. Gonna move this unit down here. This unit here and here. We were thinking about popping the scout, but go along with it. Getting all of our soldiers together. Now, since we're full, we're gonna move out. What I'm gonna do here with my units, or some of them at least, is we're basically just gonna send them out to areas that we want to settle. To kind of not just hold the position, okay, but to let us see what's moving around that position, or the shadow of war. Because you might see like a really good spot, like maybe, for example, one of these, not gonna happen, but maybe one of these. And then you send your settler out there just to discover that somebody's already settled a city. So we have another settler. We already encroached on Confucius in his territory. So I'm really thinking about encroaching on Napoleon. We have a thumbs up from Napoleon as well. So I'm thinking about moving up here. This is also the thing about terrain. It's really hard to attack in some of these positions with this terrain location that we have going on up here. Also, there's some excellent resources. The sheep are production. The camels are a great resource to have in Antiquity. The horses give +1 to cavalry, which we're really not concerned about that. But the incense in Antiquity gives +10 science, +10% in science, I should say, which is absolutely huge. That'll give us another +3, which, I mean, doesn't really seem like that much, but everything adds up. Being productive one day will benefit so much in the future, I assure you. All right, so we're going to send our solo up there, and then we're actually going to call that an episode right there. So episode turned 45. I hope you guys liked the beginning of this episode. I assure you it gets so much better. Ada is about to explode. Tsunami of technology, I assure you. So if you like the video so far, be sure to comment. If I messed up anyway or anyhow, for sure comment. If I could have improved in any way, be sure to comment. Drop a like if you like the video. Subscribe if you want to see more. And I appreciate all of you all. Thank you for watching for this long. Thank you so much. And I will see you on next episode, which should drop immediately after this one. Thank you very much. Have a great day.